Welcome to the Haunted Hangover podcast live.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Louie. That's Manny.
Yep, that's
Happy
me.
New Year once again. We're here. Some things don't change.
Nope.
Technical difficulties still arising, still popping up. It is what it is. Yes, we're going to be recapping last year.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about Nosferatu.
Yep.
And how much Manny loved the film and how much he adored it. Number one, we're not going to spoil it here. Number one film for Manny last year, 2024. His favorite film of the year.
Not Nosferatu.
not Nosferatu.
Nope.
I'm joking, Manny.
So bring the spoiler witch back.
Let's bring the spoiler witch. Here we go. When you hear the witch, spoilers. Will commence.
So that's where we're going to start.
And that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with Nosferatu, Manny. You take it away. We're starting with you again.
I said it. All right. I said it when I had an echo. Now I'm going to try it without an echo.
Yes, echoless. You can literally not hear anything coming back. There we go.
Great. So again, Nosferatu is gorgeous. Eggers made a beautiful, beautiful film. Everything as far as technical, filmmaking, absolutely incredible. Second to none. The sound design is amazing. I even got to see it. We went to one of the AMCs that had, I forget what they call it, but it's essentially the same as like a Dolby, in Dolby, where they have the subwoofers under the seats.
Yeah.
So when Nosferatu spoke, our chairs rumbled. Like I felt it in my chest. It was, wow. That was incredible. The sound design on his voice was phenomenal. Booming. It was phenomenal. Yes. Absolutely phenomenal. But I'm just going to put it down to the script sucked.
Okay.
No, the script didn't suck. It was missing things. It was missing. I said, I would try and keep it quick so we don't go through this, but he wasn't Nosferatu at any point in the movie. At no point did he become Nosferatu. We had a vampire movie. You didn't even see his fucking teeth. How do you have a vampire movie and not even see the vampire's teeth? He's got this awesome bite where he bites right into their heart and it leaves these 5 marks, these 5 little holes on his chest. How do you not show the fangs that create this very specific 5 fang bite? That's a very specific design. How do you not show that off? That's missed right there.
So 2 things on that point, on the fangs, to defend the film.
Oh, go ahead.
This will not be a debate. But first, Lauren, because she's a part of the team tonight. She helped us with some of the technical difficulties. She too said, Nosferatu didn't hit for me. So you're not alone, Manny. You're not alone. I've heard that. Now, I wouldn't say it's a polarizing film, because there's a lot of people that love it, but there's a couple people I've seen that
I haven't seen anybody say they hate it.
I think it's hard to say. It's too beautiful of a film to say really you hate the movie.
It really is.
Now, the fangs, the vampire aspect. 2 things. Number 1, the original Nosferatu. He never has fangs in that film. You never see fangs in that film. I actually watched it right before going to see the new one. I watched the typo negative version where typo scores the entire. I actually gave you a DVD of that many moons ago. So that's the first thing. You never see fangs in that. Number 2, and I only say this because I remember I brought it up when Grimy and I covered the original 1931 Dracula, which Nosferatu is obviously inspired by illegally, technically, because they did just enough to get away with the copyright. In that film, he doesn't have fangs either. Fangs are something that showed up much later in the history of vampires. Okay. Now, that's Robert Eggers as a director, I guess, not keeping it accurate, I guess, but him kind of following those same beats as the great grandfather of, I guess, the modern vampire, or what we know as vampires.
Well, then what do you call those 2 sharp little things in the front of Nosferatu's face? What do you call those two teeth?
Those are teeth. But
what do you call them?
Well, they're fangs, technically.
Okay.
Right.
And that's the 1922 Nosferatu.
No.
He has Two
Yes.
sharp teeth right in front.
But he's got like buck
Those-
teeth, basically.
Those are his fangs. The
Yeah.
characteristic of a Nosferatu vampire is
Yes.
that they have the face of a rat.
No, of course.
The Salem's Lot
Count
vampire.
Orlok, yeah. He's Count
He
Orlok
was
in that
also
too. Yeah.
based on, yes, he's based on the Nosferatu vampire. They have teeth in the front.
Yeah.
They have two center teeth, and that's the characteristic of a Nosferatu vampire. Okay, there's different types of vampire, and yes, these are things that have come in the last 100 years. People have created different lore, you know, and that's what they based the lore on. Those are his fangs, the two teeth in front.
And I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, like I said, I have a sneaking suspicion the fangs you're mentioning, the two teeth in the front, I don't think the whole like Lost Boys biting the neck, Lestat vampire. That didn't happen in the 20s and 30s. That was something that happened much later.
No.
Like I said, we covered Dracula here.
Then I will move on.
no, listen, there's nothing wrong with that.
We have scenes of Dracula.
Yes.
Nosferatu.
Count Orlok.
Yes, he's a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
He turns into wolves. He turns into rats. He turns into smoke. He turns into a bat. And as he gets stronger, as he eats and drinks more, he gets stronger, he gets younger, he gets better. None of that happened in this movie.
No.
Not one single characteristic of what makes him a Nosferatu or a vampire at all happens in this film. There is no point where he stops being Graf Orlok and becomes the Nosferatu.
Yeah, he's gross the whole movie. They kept him almost like a zombie, an undead sort of.
I loved that
corpse.
he really leaned into. So when he says, I want to leave the superstitious people here, the superstitious. That's because they've caught on to him. Okay, the Romanis are on to him, and he can't get them anymore. He's literally starving to death. He has no food left because whatever they're doing, they're hanging garlic out their window, they're wearing crosses, that whatever it is that repels him, they've already figured it out. So Eggers really leaned into that's what's happening to him. He's out of food and he's starving to death. So that's why he's this kind of decrepit old man, and I love it, you know? But then he moves, finds new energy, finds new food sources, never gets any stronger, never gets any better looking, younger looking, more agile, nothing. Okay? Doesn't do anything for him. He just stays this frail old man, you know? And then, shit, the next one I forget what my next point was going to be. The first half hour, 35 minutes or so, absolutely phenomenal. Okay. We get up to the contract signing scene and we have that whole sequence. Thomas is shitting a brick. This man is scared beyond belief. He knows what he's in for now. That's it. He's in here stuck with the vampire or whatever he thinks he is. He is fully aware of the danger he is in and that he's probably about to die. And he is scared shitless already. And Nosferatu is terrifying. At 35 minutes in, we have already hit an 11 on the intensity scale. We have 2 more hours. Where the fuck are we going to go from this point forward? We now spend the next 2 hours nowhere near that level of intensity, just watching Lily Rose Depp cry and complain and just be just a woman that nobody listens to for the entire film. That's it. And then we get the same ending we always got.
I mean,
it's the same fucking ending. It's the same everything what was the point of the film? He took out every aspect that makes him Nosferatu and replaced it with nothing. He even combined a few characters, which was cool. I liked the the real estate owner being Renfield. I thought that was great.
Well, in the story, it's always been sort of they always combine the characters because I think Renfield is and like when you think Bela Lugosi Dracula, the Renfield character is a combination of those characters. I believe in the original source material, those characters are separate. Like even when you watch, for example,
that's what I'm saying. I like that we made it where the boss is sending him there intentionally.
Well, that's the original. The original film is like that. In the for example,
they haven't done that in decades.
Before around the time of watching Nosferatu, like the new Nosferatu, I watched the original 1922, 29, whatever, 22, and I think it was released here in 29 or something like that. The original film. I watched 1931 Dracula again, and I watched Gary Oldman, Bram Stoker's Francis Ford Coppola Dracula.
Which is still the best one as far as I'm concerned.
I disagree.
You can disagree.
Which is fine.
I can tell you you're wrong.
I can tell you you're wrong. That's the point of this conversation. So for me, like with like you said, the Renfield character, it's always been two characters. Yes. The person who sends him and the Renfield, even in the Gary Oldman one.
But it's not anymore, is what I'm saying.
It's not.
And I like that.
Yeah, because in the original one, it's not. He goes to the realtor, and like Renfield's never on the boat. Yeah. The Dimitri, what is it? The
Demeter.
Demeter, whatever. That boat, he never goes on with him. No. Dracula or Nosferatu or Count Orlok goes by himself. So they Robert Eggers took the original source material, which is not Dracula, which is the Nosferatu film, and just basically mimicked it and added on to what already existed.
But that's my point. I don't think he added shit. He didn't add anything.
It is what it is.
He took elements away and he didn't add anything new. He just dragged on an 85-minute movie into 2.5 hours.
He did more with the female lead. He did more with her.
He swapped them.
He did more. Well, no, because
he turned her into Lucy.
Well,
he
Lucy,
swapped Mina and Lucy. That's what he did. He swapped them. Well, yes, because Mina's the one that normally has the good relationship with Jonathan, and Lucy is the one that's kind of sleeping around and seeing all these other people. Instead, we've now created Lucy, the one with the strong, healthy relationship.
You're confusing the two stories. Because the original
maybe
character,
I'm confusing the names. I'm confusing.
You're confusing the Nosferatu film and the Dracula story. Because I'm pretty sure Lucy and Mina are two separate characters from the original Dracula. Nosferatu changed. The original Nosferatu changed a lot to not get in trouble. Even though they
changed the names. They changed the names. That's really it.
No, but the characters also changed.
In the original Nosferatu. Thomas's wife. The two of them are in a good relationship and they're getting married, and her best friend is kind of a slut.
Okay.
That is the story of Dracula too. That's just the way it is. We swapped this and we made the best friend the one in the happy relationship with children this time, and now it's Thomas's wife who's kind of on the they're not totally happy yet. You know what I mean? But then that's the only difference, that he swapped the characters. He gave the best friend a happy relationship and still had her overtaken by the vampire.
I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like every Dracula story, Nosferatu, Dracula, Bela Lugosi, Gary Oldman, whichever version you watch, there's always the Mina character. There's that main character. And Dracula wants her. At the end of the day, that's why, in my opinion,
I'm not arguing.
So here's my assessment of the film, and again, I know you're not going to agree with me, which is cool. I like that. I think, and this has always been sort of, and you can be critical. It's all subjective. It's film. It's like everything, a book, a movie, a game, or whatever. You can like something that other people don't, that they do like. I think it's a beautiful film.
Yep.
I think it's got better acting, in my opinion, than the Francis Ford Coppola one. I think infamously, I think Keanu Reeves in that movie is horrendous. I think it's like a meme at this point.
I think his accent is horrendous, but he's not horrendous.
You know what I mean? It's just like
he did fine. His accent is shit.
It's an odd performance. I mean, in this movie, in the 2024 Nosferatu, I feel like everyone for the most part is pretty strong, except for what's his name, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I don't know who he is.
He's the friend with the wife and kids. The guy who
the
played
husband.
Kick-Ass. The guy who played Kick-Ass. That actor. I thought he was personally, I thought, the weakest part of the film, in my opinion. So for me, it was like that was the one thing that kind of took me out of the movie. That when he died, I did not care. I was like, whatever. It had no emotional.
The point of it either.
I mean, it had no emotional impact on me whatsoever. Outside of that, I thought everyone was great. I thought it was a beautiful looking film. I personally do really like this depiction of Count Orlok. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the mustache. I'm a fan of the mustache.
That
Count
didn't
Orlok.
bother me at all. Yeah, the mustache was fine. I liked that he had that classic Romani look.
Yeah, and he had the pointed ears.
Look like Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad the Impaler. I'm
totally cool with that's fine. I had I was like, okay, but I do realize why they hid the look. They didn't hide it to make it a surprise. They hid the look because if they had put that out there publicly,
people would have bitched.
Be a meme.
Yes.
And everybody would be joking on it.
Look what's happening what's happening with the Wolfman now. Everyone's talking shit about the look of the new Wolfman, the one that's coming out in a couple weeks. People think it sucks because it doesn't look like a Wolfman.
No, the one you're talking about, the one that they had at Horror Nights.
No, Blumhouse, the one that's coming out in like 2 weeks.
Yes. They had a
No, they just revealed what he looks like. They spoiled the whole thing online. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen
So avoid it if you want to be surprised. But people are complaining because he looks weird. So like, I get that hiding him. I think it's effective. I think the hair, he looks huge. The giant coat. I thought he looked sick. I thought the design was sick. The voice the voice is phenomenal. I think everything about the performance is great. I love the movie. I don't see what you see at all.
Bored the shit out of me.
I don't see that. We should put into some context here before you continue, Manny. Sorry to cut you off, but you're not a big fan of Robert Eggers' movies. So that should have been the first thing, because you don't like his stuff that much. You think this, you told me yourself we weren't recording, but you told me you thought The Lighthouse was boring as hell.
I can't finish it. I have fallen asleep on it 3 times.
So
I own the Blu-ray. I just bought it because I said this looks really
just
cool.
to have.
I have put when it came out.
Oh, okay.
When it came out, I bought it because I was like, I like The Witch. I've tried The Lighthouse 3 separate times, half an hour, and I'm out like a light. Bores the shit out of me.
Dude,
The Northman just doesn't interest me. The story, the
Northman's
just doesn't interest me. I'll give it a try one day. But after watching Nosferatu now, I kind of look back and I go, really? The Witch was cool only because of the ending. If it wasn't for that ending, it would have been a boring movie. Hell, I remember watching when I went to see The Witch in the theater, and halfway through the movie, I leaned over and said, I have no fucking clue what anybody has said yet. Not one single piece of dialogue has been straight English. I don't even know what they're saying. And halfway through Nosferatu, I leaned over to Lynn and I said, I don't give a fuck about a single one of these characters yet. How about you?
Yeah, it doesn't resonate with you.
One character has resonated with me.
I don't so it's weird. I have this weird kind of, so I like all 4 of his movies. I love them. Honestly, right now, if you ask me in the order of from best to, I guess, least best, or because I think all 4 of them are great. Honestly, The Lighthouse is probably my favorite of his. Okay. Then The Witch, Nosferatu. Actually, no. Nosferatu is probably at the bottom of the list right now. It's probably Lighthouse, Witch, Northman, Nosferatu. I like all 4. Nosferatu, I have to watch it again. I've only seen it once. Yeah. And I'm sure when I watch it again, I feel like Nosferatu, when I watch it again, I'm going to like it even more the second time. Personally speaking, I really dug it. Yeah. Creatures of the Night, The Northman was great. It was great. I love that movie. Also said, essentially, we got a simpler Dracula movie mixed in with an Exorcist film, which I could see people with Lily Rose Depp, her convulsions and stuff freaking out. Was very kind of possession Exorcist-esque. Dude, listen, man, I get your criticism. I understand people not liking his stuff because it's boring or they think it's dull or there's no life to it. I think I think they're
beautiful.
Here's the thing with his movies.
Films.
Oh, they're beautiful.
They feel empty.
Yeah.
They're just empty.
They're
gorgeous and empty.
Here's the thing that I like about him. And you obviously, again, you wouldn't put him high on films that are coming out recently that you really, in the last 10 years or whatever. When did The Witch come out? 2014, 15? No one is making movies like him right now.
No.
Nobody.
Absolutely not.
Nobody.
No, I completely agree with that.
So I think as a filmmaker, the guy's super talented. I know people kind of give him shit because I think it's like style over substance with kind of like the period accurate stuff and things like that.
There's plenty of directors that are like that, style over substance. That's fine. I don't have an issue with that. I look at it like that means that his storytelling style is just not for me. And that's it. I don't think Nosferatu's not a bad film at all. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can
acknowledge when something is good and I just don't enjoy it.
Yeah, it's just not for you. It's not your cup of tea.
Bad movie is a bad movie. He doesn't make bad films at all. Not even close.
Dude, nobody, I'm telling for me, it's like no one is making movies like this. And he is like only 4 films into he's a relatively young guy. He's only 4 movies in. I can't, you know what it feels like? Like Nosferatu. Where the hell does he go from here? Like what like you know, like that was the movie he wanted to make, I think, for years.
And you know what? And I hate to shit on it too, because it's going to come back to bite me in the ass, because Robert Eggers' wife is actually the best friend of a friend of mine.
Oh, wow. There you go. So
she worked on one of
6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon situation.
One of my friends, she went to school and grew up with Robert Eggers' wife. It's like her best friend, and I'm like, one day I'm gonna be literally sitting across the table having dinner with this fucking guy.
If you go on Letterboxd right now and look at Manny's movies, I'm sure there's bad reviews. People don't like your movies. It happens.
Oh, 100%. They got bad
Same
reviews.
here.
Got shit reviews.
I've worked with you on a couple, and even my movie has gotten 2 stars on Amazon. So there you go. It's not gonna be for everyone. I get that. It resonated with me, dude. I loved it. I saw it with the wife and Chris.
Yep.
And we went to go see it at the Alamo Drafthouse in Brooklyn here in New York. And it was a phenomenal experience. I loved it. I thought it's just everything about the movie worked for me. And it felt like a sort of magical Hammer film. More whimsical in a way, even though it's obviously a bleak story. So to me, it worked, man. His performance as Count Orlok, Lily Rose Depp freaking out and going into convulsions and possessed worked for me. Nicholas Hoult, I believe, the husband, the fiance, he was great. You know, I enjoyed his performance, him trying to get back in the town and protect her. I thought that one shot of Count Orlok killing the 2 girls and you see the silhouette in the shadow and he's just grabbing, dude, fucking awesome. Awesome shot. The way that was shot with the sounds, you hear it.
He has an absolute mastery of cinematography.
The dude is, he's
second to none. His cinematography and set design, his attention to detail is second to none. Like the guy is phenomenal.
No one in Hollywood doing that right now.
I don't think there's very few people, period, doing anything like that.
I mean, it's
very, very few.
It's you have to.
And the fact that he gets the budgets to
it's amazing.
To create it, like this is like, I feel like you haven't seen this level of detail since like Kubrick,
which we talked about last month. Funny enough,
so, since that level of just minutia and detail of how he's going to plot it all out and everything's going to be deliberate and he's showing you every single thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even Kubrick didn't do this great. Like that Jim Henson does this level of detail.
Dude, the way I see it is like Robert Eggers.
It made me think because I asked about the Labyrinth remake.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that. Is that real or is that?
It's rumors. I don't know if it's a remake or a sequel either. I do not know. I've heard it, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything confirm it yet.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's more of a situation of just like, I mean, that doesn't seem like a good fit for him personally, like a Labyrinth. Like, I just think of Trolls and David Bowie.
You know what? I think weird. In the level of, again, that's why I said his set design and everything, I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
I think it's perfect. I just don't know what he would do with the story.
Yeah, that's a weird fit.
He hasn't done anything that's that like, PG yet.
That's more like a Guillermo del Toro film, in my opinion. Like he's the one that should be directing that, not Robert Eggers. But who knows? Maybe that was like fake news, and that's not something that's actually happening. One more thing before we move on from Nosferatu. Like I said, I loved it, dude. It's gonna come up again when we get to our top.
I knew you were gonna love it too. I knew it.
But I love all his movies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, dude, it was one of my most anticipated films to come out last year. So, and it came out at the very end, hence why we're talking about it now, first episode of the new year. But one more thing I want to talk about, I think is fucking hysterical about Nosferatu. A lot of emphasis, memes, jokes about the dick, the Count Orlok dick. I have seen so many like TikTok memes and like memes about the dick. People were really going crazy about the Count Orlok penis.
Well, because then Nicholas Holt shared a picture where they gave him the prosthetic and he got to keep it.
He has a prosthetic Count Orlok dick in a frame. It's so
for all the women who went nuts in the that is not really Skarsgård's dick. It's not really his. Sorry, you still don't know what it looks like.
I mean, I just thought it was funny because I have a joke with Chris, Haunted Hangover Zone. Chris, he is the movie dick guy. He is the dick expert. He always remembers. Yeah. He remembers when schlongs show up in films. What actor's wiener was visible? I don't know. It's something he keeps track of. I guess he has a diary. He's gonna kill me for saying this on the show. Honestly, he probably won't. He'll admit to being the dick master, the movie dick master. He was like, I didn't even notice it at first. Then he was like, his dick was out. I was like, really?
Color of Night when he was a kid, and that just set him on the path.
The path to continue keeping
Color of Night changed his life.
Chris has a journal with every dick he's ever seen in a film. In film history, the dick film history.
I wonder where does Wild Things sit on that
where
ranking.
does the and he probably even has like the timestamp of when you can see.
Yep.
When next time we have Chris on with us, Chris, was there a dick and was there a penis in this film? Where exactly was it? But I just think that was really funny. All the like Count Orlok dick stuff. I just thought that, and it started with that photo. That was like the first thing. I was like, wow, people are putting a lot of emphasis on this character's wee wee.
We just talked about it last week with the Lolita movie too. We did that about Dick in the movie.
There's dicks. Dick the movie. That's it.
Dick the movie.
Dick the movie. But yeah,
how does this keep coming up?
I don't know. But yeah, I just thought that was really funny. Just kind of like, that was like the two things people took away from Nosferatu: the mustache
and the dick.
And the dick.
So if we put the mustache on the dick, that's it. Oscar gold right there.
Oscar gold. Not nominated for any Golden Globe. So
would the mustache go above the dick or between the dick and balls?
So in my opinion,
was the dick like a nose or?
So in the way I see it, the mustache goes in between the balls and the dick. It's kind of like a nose.
The shaft.
It's like So you see, this is the
dick.
This is the dick. The mustache, the balls. That's what I'm thinking is going on there. But yeah, you're right.
He's
Oscar
got a cleft. What you're trying to say.
Yes. Cleft. Yeah, the balls right there with the mustache, the dick, and then Nicholas Holtz has it framed in his.
Chris is going to be proud of us for figuring this out before he shows up. Like,
every detail.
Chris,
when that movie's on Blu-ray, Chris is going to
blow it up.
Slow motion. Slow motion. And slowly pinpoint the exact seconds the dick is on screen for.
Good to have a hobby.
Good, yes, very good. Love you, Chris.
Yeah, he's not listening.
He's not. He'll listen back probably. Next time he's on with us, we're gonna bring it up.
You're gonna get a call from him at 2:00 in the morning. What the fuck, man?
He is the dick master. No, I think he'd be honored by this label. He will be going forward the year 2025. Here in the history of Haunted Hangover, our 5th year of doing this show, of Haunted Hangover, this show existing, Chris will have a new name. His new name will be Chris the Dick Master Poltney.
Chris Cocksmith.
Chris Cocksmith. That's it. That's what that
Chris
will be.
Cocksmith.
He will be the man when it comes to dick and film. That's the man to talk to.
He's the guy to talk to.
The guy to talk to.
Gotcha.
All right, let's move on to kind of the year as a whole. The year where lots came out this year. I did not nearly get to watch as much as I would have liked to.
Solid year for horror films.
It was. almost overwhelming because I missed out on a lot of like even some bigger films, and there's reasons why I didn't watch them. And I'm sure maybe one or two might get mentioned here. But a lot of stuff came out, man. Almost like to the point where I was like looking back at like on Letterboxd and looking at the list of like films. I have like a private list. I just put everything I've seen this year. That's a new film for the year. There was stuff that came out that I thought came out last year. I was like, oh shit, this came out this year? Because it was so early in the year.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, this was 2024. So yeah, it was kind of wild, just all the stuff that came out. So I want to start with, and I don't like to be negative. You know, I want to be a little more positive here.
You can't like everything.
You can't, obviously.
You can't enjoy everything. It's the fact. You can't enjoy everything.
You can't, unfortunately. So I wanted to go with, so we were talking off air. We were saying biggest disappointment, worst film. Two very different things. Worst film is like flat out, never want to watch that again. Giant turd. Why does this movie exist? What were they doing? And then biggest disappointment doesn't necessarily mean it was a bad movie. You just expected more from it. And it just left you kind of like, huh, that's it? So that's kind of where to differentiate kind of the worst film and the biggest disappointment. So I wrote only one big disappointment because I think your list is much longer. We're going to do our best here to not rattle on and go off. Just kind of name what the film is, and then briefly why. But my biggest disappointment of 2024 is a movie we actually did a full live episode on a few months ago. So if you didn't listen to it, go back because I'm not going to break it all down again. And that film is Maxine, which I believe came out in July of 2024.
Okay.
I, much like Nosferatu, was looking forward to this film. Big fan of X, loved Pearl. Pearl's my favorite, still my favorite of the three. So when it was announced that Maxine, the third sequel in this trilogy, was getting another movie, I was excited. And even I remember when we talked about it, I remember telling myself, I need to watch it again to really know how I feel about it. I remember saying that when we went live to cover that film. I think we covered that and Long Legs at the same time, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong, but I think so.
Sounds right.
I remember telling myself, I have to watch it again because I had only seen it in the theater. So I watched it again on HBO Max, literally, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago. And I found myself kind of saying the same thing, like, all right, it's kind of, some stuff's cool, but you said that word, it felt soulless. I kind of felt that it felt like the movie was just made to be made. Like they were just making it like, all right, we need a third movie, whatever. Ty West had to make another film in this trilogy to wrap it up or whatever. I almost don't see another one getting made now because I think
I want the movie that she made in that.
Yeah, The Puritan, I think is what it's called.
The Puritan trilogy.
I agree.
I want to see that.
But yeah, Maxine it left me wanting more. I thought the ending was a bit kind of, I don't know, rushed, kind of came out of nowhere. It didn't. I don't know. It just left me. I mean, the performances are great. I think I said that when we covered the show. Everything is great about it. Again, like Nosferatu for you, there's a lot to like in the movie, but it didn't. I wasn't in a rush to revisit it.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like, damn, I got to watch that again. It didn't. That to me is the sign of a movie I really love when I can't wait to watch it again. And Maxine I've seen Pearl like 10 times already. That's my favorite one. But yeah, I don't know. It just didn't have enough oomph in it for me. The story, it was mostly the story, the plot. I mean, the movie again, like how you feel about Nosferatu, the look of the film, great. Performance is pretty solid, just dull at times.
I told you what, I was looking forward to doing this really. I've been looking forward to doing this episode for a while, simply because I know that we had such differing opinions on films this year. And I said, it's going to make for interesting conversation, if nothing else. You know, rather than the two of us just sitting here. I think last year we agreed on a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
probably.
Maxine became my favorite of the three.
Yeah.
It's still not huge high on my list. but I was disappointed by X in the first place, and I think Pearl was better. And I felt Maxine kind of left Pearl in the back. We talked about this. I feel like it didn't connect to Pearl whatsoever. It felt like X and Maxine are its thing, and Pearl is a completely separate film. You
Hmm.
know, it didn't create the connection that I felt like it needed. But as a whole, I liked Maxine the best.
Yeah.
It was a De Palma film.
Oh,
That's
for
what he was
sure.
going. He was going first. He was going for Toby Hooper, and then with Pearl, I can't think of
It's
the
like a twisted
director.
Wizard of Oz or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He's going for an old Wizard of Oz story, and
Yeah.
then he went for Brian De Palma. Um, I think I honestly think that's when Ty West is at his strongest. Is that like 70s, 80s aesthetic? He's
Yeah.
always been good at that. You know, Pearl was good, but it really was its own thing. Um,
I'll say
but
this
yeah,
so that we can just move to your
yeah,
one of
yeah.
your biggest disappointments. I think the biggest thing he did and the best thing he did with that franchise is cast Mia Goth. Like she owns those movies. There's buttons of her, t-shirts of her.
Yeah, she
That
does.
character, the character of Maxine and Pearl, I think people like her more than even the movies.
I can agree with that.
Like if it would have been anyone else, obviously in an alternate timeline, it would be
No, but
somebody
she
else. But
killed
like
it. She was great in the role.
she is the reason the movies were so successful. So outside of that, I just thought the movie was. It doesn't have a lot of rewatchability to me compared to like Pearl that I like can watch whenever. I loved Pearl. So
Mhm.
big disappointment for you, 2024, Manny.
I have three. We already
Okay,
talked about Nosferatu.
I figured it was gonna
Again,
be on there.
it does not mean it was like you said. It does not mean this was a bad movie.
Yeah,
These were just I expected.
yeah,
I had higher hopes.
yeah.
Um, so I have three. Nosferatu's one. Um, one of them, I'm just gonna say it. Long legs.
Okay.
Huge disappointment for me. I'm gonna leave it at that because I know we're probably gonna talk about it later on your list. I have a feeling that that's pretty high on your. And another one, Beetlejuice.
Forgot about
Did
Beetlejuice.
not enjoy Beetlejuice at all. There was about a 5 minute
Yeah.
moment when when Lydia and Beetlejuice first got to get when they first combined. I said yes, and we had about 5 minutes that felt like Beetlejuice.
This is
Felt
Beetlejuice.
like it felt like old school Tim Burton. It was
Yeah.
witty, it was funny, it had the timing, the everything went, and then it all fell apart again.
I mean, you're not
I
the only
feel
one.
I feel like he
Yeah.
had so many ideas and he couldn't pick one and he just threw them all at the wall. I think Monica's Bellucci's character was completely pointless
I
throughout
think
the entire
everyone can
film.
agree with that. That
Yeah.
she kind
Her
of, why was she in the film besides being Tim Burton's girlfriend? There really no
had
point to her
nothing to
character.
do with
Yeah.
anything and that in the same time makes William Defoe's character useless because that's that whole storyline
Yeah.
that does nothing. It doesn't add to the end of it whatsoever. We have three villains in the movie, one of them being Beetlejuice, one of them being her, and the other one being the little boy. And the little boy and her, have no bearing on the ending whatsoever. And then the ending of Beetlejuice is the same ending of the first movie. We have a wedding, we got the snake, the worm through the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's the same. What was the point?
I mean,
It was so, and it really bothered me that they made a really big deal before the movie came out. They made a really big deal making note of the fact that what's his name, Jeffrey Jones, was not going to be in the film. You know, that they were very adamant about
I
that,
mean,
and then they
technically
revolved the
he's not in
entire
the
fucking
film.
movie
I
around
know.
him.
His
They
character is in the film, but
the
he's not
character,
in the film. Yeah.
which is so stupid because we also killed off Jenna Ortega's father's character in the movie. Why do we have two dead fathers? Why didn't we just make it one? Why do you
Yeah.
have two characters doing the same thing? One as a joke and one being the portion that's going to connect to the ending. It
I'll,
was such a waste.
my thoughts on Beetlejuice, I kind of treat it as like a haunted attraction. Like so I haven't rewatched it. I know it's on HBO now, I think. I haven't rewatched it since I saw it in theaters. Which I guess I haven't ran to go revisit it. So it didn't make that much of an impact. I mean, I think the biggest problem with it is there's just so much going on in that movie that was kind of pointless compared to like the first movie, the original
Danny
film.
DeVito was the funniest part.
And he's in it for like 2 seconds.
Yes.
I mean, seeing my biggest thing and the reason why I forgave it for the most part, and I treat it like a ride. I don't really treat it as like, it's like a roller coaster, I guess. It's the most pretentious thing I could say. But that movie, Beetlejuice specifically feels like a ride, in my opinion. Is that like seeing Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice is cool. To see him
I didn't even like seeing him
as
as Beetlejuice.
To me, I thought like seeing him, it's like the Flash movie. Like, I saw that movie one time, thought it was terrible, but I thought it was cool seeing Michael Keaton back as Batman. I don't remember anything else about that movie. If you ask me right now, what did you like about that movie? I'd be like, oh, Michael Keaton as Batman was cool. But outside of that, I was like, I don't remember anything else. Same thing with Beetlejuice. It's cool to see him back as Beetlejuice. But outside of that, there isn't really much memorable about it. Like seeing him, the little head guy, Bob. Bob was cool. Great. And all the marketing stuff around it was really great. Like, give me a Bob movie.
Give me Bob movie. That's it.
Well, spoiler, he dies in the movie. So I don't know if that's going to happen. But
you didn't have to spoil that. Jeez.
Sorry, my bad.
You just decided to.
The witch.
There's the witch.
There's the witch. The witch popped up earlier. The spoiler witch popped up earlier. So sorry, guys. Yeah, I mean, real quick and we'll move on. The Bob character was one of the best things, and he feels plucked right out of the animated series. Yes. Like, he feels plucked right out of it. So
I wish that everybody else was making the same movie that Bob was.
Yeah, all the Bobs, all the little like head guys. Yeah, the shrunken head guys were great. Yeah. All right, so moving on, worst film 2024. I've got one movie that to me was probably
we might agree on this one. Yes. So I have a couple just because I just think have we one. Might agree. So go ahead.
Movies never make me this annoyed. Like, it's hard for me because I'm usually pretty kind of forgiving. Like, again, I wasn't as like Beetlejuice to go back to that. I wasn't as hard on Beetlejuice. This movie, I walked into it and walked out saying,
fuck that shit.
What was the point of this movie?
If it's the same movie, I literally yelled at the screen in the theater. And I yelled at the character.
And the film is Strangers Chapter 1.
Yep.
The Strangers Chapter 1.
Yelled, and she was embarrassed because I was yelling at the screen, you stupid motherfucker.
I don't understand why they made this movie, let alone I
understand why.
3 films. No, I get why
the decisions they made were.
I mean, I get why they wanted to make money, and the characters are marketable.
I wouldn't even say no. I think he wanted to make sequels, but unfortunately, the idea that he had for the sequel doesn't line up with the ending of the original movie.
No, and it'll never be that good. It'll never be as good as the original.
No, it won't.
Now, here's the funny thing with Strangers Chapter 1. And I think this will be hysterical. It almost feels like, and again, to me, it's like, why even do this? I have a sneaking suspicion the other 2 are going to be better. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed.
I'm hoping.
I feel like this was like...
But I can't see how, considering they shot them at the same time. You have the same actors, and they were fucking terrible.
They had no chemistry. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt.
I am too, but I cannot see how these 2 are suddenly going to play these characters well.
Yeah. There were some weird decisions. It didn't even feel like it needed to be rated R. It was bizarre, just like some of the stuff they did. But I'm just like, why remake the first movie?
He's a good director too.
Yes, Rennie Harlin, right?
Rennie Harlin's a good director.
Rennie Harlin, yeah. I don't understand. Just go a different, and he did go a different direction because obviously it's going to go someplace else. But why even try to kind of remake the first movie, but then make it less emotional, less visceral, less violent, nothing is creepy. Compared to like the original with those shots of like the strangers showing up in the darkness and then going, like when Liv Taylor doesn't notice, there's none of that in this movie. All the suspense has been sucked out of it.
Yeah, immediately, right off the bat. Yeah. Here they are. Yeah.
Weird. It felt like my man was collecting a paycheck. Like, this is the prime example of, here's a check as a director and here you go. And he's like, all right, I'll 50%.
I would mostly agree with that if it wasn't for the fact that he initiated this remake.
Yeah, I don't know.
He wanted to do this.
Yeah,
like,
it's
I would
bad.
agree, like, you know what? The
It's bad.
studio wanted to remake the movie and he's
Yeah.
just got put. No, he initiated this. They wouldn't have wanted to remake this if it wasn't for.
Yeah, it had to have been.
Malum was the same way.
Really? I mean,
you saw Last Shift.
yes.
Malum.
I didn't watch the remake.
His own film.
Yeah, no, I know. I love
Terrible.
Last Shift is great. But
Terrible.
I didn't
Ruined
watch the
5
remake.
minutes in. Fucking
Really?
terrible.
Yeah, I don't get the whole remaking your own movie thing. I mean, I get it if you made a movie for like
If
a
you
cup
made a
of
bad
coffee.
movie, I get.
I mean, if you made a good movie, why would you remake your own? It's weird. Yeah,
Somebody
man.
gives me $100,000 to remake Blood Slaughter, I'm doing it.
I mean, yeah, but I'm saying that's a different. That's like you make it. You make a movie for a cup of coffee. It's different
He
than
made a great movie in the first place.
Yeah.
They gave him a couple $1 million and he made the same movie worse.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it was perplexing. Like when I left the theater, I was like, I have no interest in watching chapter 2. So we'll see what happens. All right, Manny, your worst films. Try rattle them off.
Well, Strangers was
Okay.
I'm gonna go through them. The Amityville Curse, another remake.
I didn't see it.
One of the duller Amityville movies in the first place. Decent film, but the remake just fucking boring as shit. Then there's Festival of the Living Dead.
Oh, I didn't even watch
I
it.
swear to God, the Soskas lost a bet. I don't know what. Now, they're not. I'm not going to say that they are like the greatest horror directors ever, but this is pure crap.
I mean, they've been making.
It is a sequel to the original Night of the Living Dead, set 40-something years later. Festival of the Living Dead. So that is its backdrop, and it is just garbage.
I have not followed their career too closely, personally. I just
don't have that many films.
I mean, they've
but
made
American Mary's great.
That's their best movie, I think.
It is. American Mary is really good.
I mean, outside of that, I can't tell you.
Rabid was cool.
Dead Hooker in a Trunk was, I remember.
That was their Blood Slaughter. They did that for like Dead Hooker in the Trunk. They did for $3,000-$4,000.
They made a WWE movie with Dean Cain and The Big Show. I think I remember.
They did See No Evil 2.
Yes, which was okay. It was fun.
I said they're not the greatest, but they're not really bad either. They're just
they're talented filmmakers.
Yes. But this movie is just total garbage. And now this one is another one.
I will be skipping it. I can confirm right now.
And here's one that is baffling.
Okay.
As to how bad this movie really is.
Okay.
This is the most boring film. You know what? I actually have to, because I watched it solo. I watched it like in the beginning of the year. I'm going to pull up what I wrote about this. I should have had it ready already, but
I mean, how bad is this?
Okay. This movie was called Skeletons in the Closet.
Never heard of it.
No. It stars Terrence Howard, Cuba Gooding Jr.
Wow.
Udo Kier.
Wow.
And Clifton Powell.
Wow. Heavy hitters right there. You'd assume.
I'm just going to read
your letterbox review.
How in the holy fuck is it possible that a movie with them is so fucking boring while going in as many directions as possible? A seemingly haunted house, mom who thinks she has a curse over her head and she sees ghosts randomly, a daughter on her second bout of terminal cancer and the insurance company isn't covering the treatment, a troubled alcoholic uncle while dad is fired and now owes money to the mob who shows up intimidating him at random times, plus Udo Kier as a fortune teller who leads them into some weird otherworldly abyss to give them visions of a scarecrow while he plays with a snake. This could have been amazingly over the top and insanely good, but it is disjointed and boring. And that is why it is the worst film, because this has a phenomenal cast and it's just, this movie could have been insane. Like Toby Hooper in 1999 Toby Hooper over the top.
Yeah.
And they just dropped the ball in every way, shape, and form.
Wow. And they had a pretty stacked cast.
Solid cast.
What the fuck
Terrence
happened
Howard,
there?
Cuba Gooding Jr. I'm gonna watch that alone.
Man, I want to know why they're in this movie. I haven't even seen it.
They all lost bets. Everybody lost. 2024 was the year of I lost a bet.
Yeah.
And I have to make this movie.
I mean, what kind of check are you cutting? I mean, I get people need to work and need money, but goddamn, if the movie's that bad. Skeletons in the Closet?
Skeletons in the Closet. You should watch it just for the laughs.
Man, that's about to watch it, me and you review it on the show.
Because again, It's Terrence Howard, and it's
And
Cuba
Cuba
Gooding Jr.
I
and it's Udo
mean,
Kier.
yeah, I mean, I will question Udo Kier. He's been in some duds. He's been in some stinkers.
He has been,
Yeah.
but he's always fun to watch. Even his
Yeah.
bad movies, he's fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's a bizarre cast, and the movie's
Come on,
completely
you
shitty.
love the Korn music video just for Udo
Oh, no,
Kier.
of course.
Even Udo Kier sold Korn
No,
to
listen.
you, and you're not even a Korn fan.
Or
but
listen,
you are with that video.
Udo Kier pops up in any movie, you're kind of like, it's Udo Kier. Like, you're happy
I'm gonna give
about
this a
it.
try.
Yeah, I mean, it's
have
Udo
to try.
Kier. Like,
Exactly.
I remember he was in
Precisely.
one of the Puppet Master, like, later sequels, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, cool. Udo Kier's randomly
These
in
movies
this.
have been garbage for 25 years, but I'm gonna watch this one.
So, like I said, it's bizarre casting. I am more. Don't tell me anything else. I am more. Where is that streaming right now? Is that streaming anywhere?
I think it's Tubi. I think it was on Tubi.
Okay. I mean, I'll have to jump on Tubi and torture myself soon. That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Lauren says this year was weak for movies. I think we're going to prove her wrong on that one. We're going to explain why not.
And also, Creatures of the Night, Little Count Dooku, going back to the dick.
Back to the dick.
Count Dooku. Isn't Count Dooku? Isn't that Christopher Lee?
Dooku, yes.
Yes, Dooku. Yeah, that's the
who was
Sith
also a vampire
Dracula.
with a mustache.
He was Dracula. Yeah, he played Dracula in the Hammer
with
movies.
a mustache.
Fu Manchu.
Yep.
All right. Honorable mentions. And these, because at least in these next few movies I'm going to rattle off, I'm going to rattle these off, and because we'll be here all night.
Yeah.
We've covered 1, 2, 3, 4 of these films. So not going to elaborate too much. If I had a top 10, these would be in there somewhere. I just did top 5 just to keep it nice and tight. Abigail, had a blast with it. We reviewed that early in the year in a live episode. Fun vampire film. Lots of teeth and blood in that movie. That was a lot of fun. Late Night with the Devil, which if I had to put a number 6, I think it would be that film. Something
It actually is my number 6.
There you go. Something in my top 5 kicked it off the top 5. Love Late Night with the Devil. Saw that with you. We did a review of that as well. Here's one that I was on the fence because it's technically not horror. It's sort of genre, kind of horrific. Civil War.
Okay. I forgot about that, but that was good. But
Not really horror, but
horrific.
Horrific and, you know,
it's horror in the same way
end
that
of
watching
the world.
The news is a horror movie.
It's like about the end of the world, and obviously it's called Civil War, so it's the United States. You know, a lot of abandoned roads and stuff. So it's like a zombie movie without the zombies. The humans are the zombies in this film. I really like that. Kirsten Dunst is phenomenal.
She was great
in that. That one scene. Again, spoiler, spoiler. Witch. Her husband,
I had a little witch. I'd pull it.
Her husband, that one scene he's in, that I forget his name. I don't have it in my notes, but her husband's actually in the film. The scene where he has the most blonde guy with the mustache with the gun.
Is that really? I didn't know that.
Kirsten Dunst's husband.
I did not know
that scene was so tense.
That was great.
When they kill the two guys, like that was great. Just a great kind of apocalyptic.
He's from.
He was in Black Mirror. He was in a bunch of stuff.
Yes, the USS, whatever.
The Star Trek one. Yeah. Yep. So that was a great film. Great performance. Again, not horror, but horror-esque in kind of. Again, it's like a 28 days later movie without zombies. The humans are the kind of zombies. Next one on the list would be high on my top 10. Below 5, but high in the top 10. We didn't talk about this one at all as well. Alien Romulus.
Okay.
Loved. Jesse Plemons. There we go, Lauren. Thank you so much. That was his. I was about to say Jesse something, but I thought I was going to be.
I did not know his name
wrong.
At all.
He was great. It's such a small role in Civil War, but he is like a creep and like what you expect someone like that to be. It's a phenomenal performance. But yeah, Alien Romulus. Loved it. Got the popcorn bucket. It's behind my head. It's not lit up right now.
It was a stupid movie, but it was so much fun.
So much fun.
Fun as hell.
Fun.
Yes.
I've watched it I watched it again when it was up on Disney Plus or Hulu or whatever. Great, a good installment in the Alien franchise. And I Fede Alvarez, I always have a good time with his
great.
stuff.
Oh, he's a great director.
He's a great director. Guy does not direct enough, if I'm being honest. He's only directed like 4 movies, and he's been around forever. It's bizarre.
Another one, like Robert Eggers, the fact that he's done so little and he's so good at what he does already is just amazing.
Dude, that anti-gravity scene when she's like shooting them, so good in Alien Romulus. She was a great final girl, or Ripley offshoot or whatever they want. And the guy that played her brother, the android, the cybernetic guy, he was great in the movie. I really like the Alien Romulus. It would be like maybe 6, 7. It'd be fighting with Late Night with the Devil there for 6 or 7. Here's another one that kind of came out of nowhere, and I randomly put it on. Really enjoyed it. I think it did nostalgia right. And I think they sort of created a pretty eerie character in the main kind of big bad in the film, kind of Freddy Krueger-esque, Mr. Crockett.
Okay.
I really like that. Yep. I think
it was somewhere between Candyman and Freddy
and
Krueger.
Freddy Krueger and Mr. Like obviously Mr. Rogers was
obviously
massive.
Mr. Rogers, but yeah. As far as a villain, yes, it was a Candyman cross with Freddy Krueger. Yeah, totally.
They did a great job with setting up that world and setting up like the tape and the character and him.
2 movies with that guy this year.
Yeah, I saw 2 as well.
What was the other one?
The other one was the Killer Pumpkin movie. It's not Husk, Carved.
That was
which
fun.
is on my list. Which is on my list too. But,
I knew you'd like. I think I told you to watch that.
Yeah. So Mr. Crockett, just a really fun kind of Freddy Krueger-esque, Candyman-esque film that does the nostalgia 90s, 80s sort of vibes right. That would be probably in my lower half as well. Here's another big one, Cuckoo, which we talked about. Cuckoo was fantastic. We did a full episode on that one, so go check that out.
Yep.
Carved, I have that here. The Killer Pumpkin movie. That was just stupid fun.
It was so much fun though.
It was
so much fun.
Dumb fun. That's what that was. That was just, it's literally a Killer Pumpkin film. If the listeners you've not heard of this movie, it's a great Halloween watch. They did a fantastic job with kind of the Halloween atmosphere, and the fact that it's a killer jack-o'-lantern pumpkin is hysterical. Some of the effects work they do with it kind of crawling around and like the vines for hands and grabbing people and ripping their head off. So ridiculous, but I loved it. VHS Beyond, I actually really enjoyed I know you didn't like it. I really enjoyed.
I think one of the stories was good, and the rest I was.
I really enjoyed the latest. I've actually been looking forward every year to the VHS movies. I mean, I've liked them
all of them. This is the first one I did not like.
I didn't like the last one. I really like this one. So
I don't think, which was the last one? Viral?
It was like 19. I think it was the 1985.
Oh, I like that. Viral is the only one I haven't seen.
I liked parts of 85. I think Beyond, in my opinion, Beyond was better. I liked the whole like body horror science fiction twist.
Oh, I mean,
aliens that they tried to do with it. So the Mike Flanagan, Kate Siegel, the one that they worked on, his wife directed, and I think Mike Flanagan wrote it. That was my favorite segment. You know, a spoiler.
That's the one with the dog?
No, that's the one that she gets stuck on the plane and she keeps getting hurt, and it keeps like fixing her wounds, and then a spider's on there and it ends up mixing her with the spider and all this. That was twisted. Great segment.
It had great effects. The movie had
thought the whole film
effects, but the stories just didn't land for me.
I get it. 2 more, and the next one we already covered, In a Violent Nature. That was amazing. I thought that was a lot of fun. I mean, we went in depth on that film as well. I thought that would be higher, but there's a couple of other movies when I really sat and thought about it that I liked more. But In a Violent Nature was amazing. One more that came out late this year that I am a sucker for is Yule Log Part 2.
Oh.
So, dude, the first Yule Log movie, this is the Adult Swim.
I just got the Blu-ray. I'm so happy. I didn't even realize they were going to release it, and I grabbed it.
Adult Swim releasing these random killer Yule Log movies that are so bizarre and feel like something lifted out of a nightmare, and they're so weird. It's like all dream logic, weird shit. Fantastic.
Yep.
And I'm going to say, a hot take here, controversial take here. I'm picking the Yule log over Art the Clown. I'm picking the killer Yule log.
I don't disagree with that at all.
I will-
Art the Clown is cool, but Yule log, I want more Yule log.
I want more Yule log.
Yep.
I want that goddamn log to smash more people's heads in.
You know what? I feel like part 1 to 2 is kind of like Happy Death Day
Yes.
1 to part 2,
Yes.
where it went in a different direction because they decided to spoof a different style of film,
Which is amazing.
they nailed the Hallmark movie of part 2. They fucking nailed it,
Dude, it becomes a giant, it goes inside. Oh, wait. Spoiler. If you haven't seen Yule Log 2, the log enters the grandma and then turns into a giant fucking log. It's amazing. It's so stupid,
awesome.
but it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
That's my last kind of honorable
it
mention.
just shows the writers
year.
at Adult Swim are just genius. They
Yeah,
really are.
it's-
There's a bunch of genius writers there.
I mean, dude, and
They are doing, Adult Swim is doing for, I guess the cult film, what Pixar did for family movies.
no, of
Where
course.
they have that same level of consistent quality, and they just nail the tone of what they're looking for every single time. Now, that doesn't mean to say they're like everything, but what they do, they are great at it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not a Pixar person either, but they are fucking great at that.
You know how I knew I would love Yule Log? When I found out it was the people behind Too Many Cooks. It's the same guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I love Too Many Cooks. It's one of my favorite Adult Swim
Yes.
segments. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to love this. And I do love both Yule Log. And one last thing on Yule Log so we can move on. Not enough people talk about it.
No.
I'm in the horror
It's a totally under the
community.
radar thing.
Yeah, I do not hear a lot of people talking about Yule Log. And I'm like, dude, these are horror films. They're bloody. They're great. And they're so weird.
Yep.
Well made. I just don't get why more people aren't talking about the 2 Yule Log movies. And they're holiday movies, holiday horror films.
They are.
Which, you know, there's a lot of holiday horror films, but there aren't that many. So I feel like Yule Log needs more kind of love. I mean, it's just, they're just fun. I'm sitting there like, this is a ridiculous movie, but the concept is genius. I loved it. I watched part 2 and then put part 1 right on afterwards when I found out. And it came out of nowhere.
Randomly, yeah.
Just like the first one.
I saw it the day it showed up. I was like,
Yeah.
wait, they did a part 2?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. Got to see it.
So
I watched it immediately.
So that's my last honorable mention because I feel like we'll be here forever. All right, a couple honorable mentions from you, Manny.
Okay, so we haven't talked about any of these on the show
Perfect.
yet.
I probably haven't seen half of them, if I'm being honest.
You probably haven't either.
Yes.
Last Straw went up
Okay.
on Shudder a little while ago. Excellent movie about it's a girl working
I
in a
saw
diner.
the art for it. I haven't watched it yet.
The girl working in a diner. It's a home invasion in a diner.
Okay.
You know, and there's some weird twist to it of what happens, and I thought it was really good, nice survival horror film. Really cool. The lead girl does a great job. There's even a nice little dance sequence, reminds me of House of the Devil.
Oh, cool.
You know, got a cool little scene like that, which is really good. Monolith. Now, Monolith is very, very unique film. We all listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
We all listen to true crime podcasts. Okay. This is a movie that is a true crime podcast in the form of a movie. The entire film takes place in the apartment of the one girl as she's recording the podcast. She is the only person in the film.
Okay.
And the podcast, the interviews, you hear everybody on the telephone because she's trying to unravel this mystery of this weird thing that happened. It's more of a sci-fi. It's horror sci-fi. There's this thing that went missing, whatever. I don't remember the details of it, so I don't want to screw it up. But basically, you can watch this movie and listen to it. Yes, that's it. It is a podcast in movie form.
I have to check it out. That sounds up my alley. I gotta.
Yeah, like 80% of the movie, it's just her sitting in front of a microphone,
just listening,
and you're and her talking to people in the interviews of unraveling the mystery of this box. That's what it is. It's a black box. You know, of where is this black box, and she finds out that there's others in the world. So she talks to people who have this black box and figure out what it is, where it came from, and what it does to the owner. So,
that sounds, I'm gonna have to give this a listen. I'll give this a listen, give this a watch.
Yes, yes, super interesting film.
Yeah.
Double Blind. It's another
Okay.
sci-fi film. It's a group of people. It's like Russian sleep experiment. It's a group of people who are given an experimental drug that's going to keep them from sleeping for a while. And the people running the experiment decide to extend it on them.
Okay.
It's very Russian sleep experiment. It's got that vibe to it. It's really, really cool, twisted sci-fi flick. And it goes a little, I'm not gonna say Lovecraftian, but it has that feel,
Okay.
you know? Faceless After Dark is a slasher film. It's with the girl from the first Terrifier film.
Oh, I think I saw the art for this too somewhere.
Probably.
Yeah.
She plays in this movie, she is a horror film actress. Okay. And essentially, she gets tired of being treated like a piece of meat by all these shitty boy fans. All the guys and the people, the men who treat actresses like they owe them something. She gets fucking sick of it and starts killing them. That
Okay.
is the simplest way to put it. I think any actress out there should see this movie because it is all how
Interesting
they feel.
premise.
Yes. And it's really good. It's nice and bloody. You know, it's another one mostly single location. It's mostly her in her apartment, you know, but there are other actors or other things. So she goes to an audition and, you know, builds up to it. But she does a great job in it, you know, and yeah, it's a nice film that's kind of gone under the radar. And let me see. And then I'll do one more here because I'm gonna do two more. One is I Don't Understand You, which has not been released yet, and I don't understand why. I
Okay.
saw this at Overlook Film Fest. It is by the two guys who do a Big Mouth.
Okay.
It's the two main guys in that too. They're playing a gay couple.
I think did you mention this when we talked about your
probably have
experience at
some,
Overlook
yes.
earlier? That
Oh,
was early in the
definitely,
year. Yeah.
It's a horror comedy in the vein of Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Okay.
Where it's a horror film by accident for the people involved.
That sounds funny. Tucker and Dale's great.
Yeah, exactly. The point of the film is I Don't Understand You. They're a gay couple who are on a bit of a vacation. They go to, I think, Italy, and they don't speak Italian, and they end up in this weird situation where people start dying around them simply because they can't understand what each other are saying. So just a series of misunderstandings leads to a really bloody dinner night. And it's absolutely hilarious. And it's Nick Kroll, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but the two of them play the couple, and it's great. It has not been released yet.
I'm sure someone will pick it up and distribute it.
I don't understand how
Weird,
it hasn't. I mean, we saw it at Overlook, and that was in April. That was its second screening. It didn't screen again at another festival until I think Fantasia over the summer in July. And it's had like one more festival.
It's having trouble getting distribution, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, it's so weird. That and Hoodwitch, which is another one I really enjoyed.
I think I remember you mentioning those during the Overlook episode we did a few months ago.
They were two of my favorites.
Yeah, that was earlier in the year or middle of the year, I think, right?
So I didn't want to get into it too much because it hasn't been released yet. Hopefully it'll be this year and people will get to see it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get, too. And then there's The Coffee Table. This movie, I've been hearing about it for about a year and a half now from people who saw screeners or they saw it at a festival as being the most intense, disturbing film they have ever seen.
Wow.
And
can you vouch for that? Is it disturbing?
They are not entirely wrong.
Oh, wow. Okay. I got to watch this.
They are not wrong. It's on Tubi.
Oh, it is. So you can watch this right now.
It finally went to Tubi about a month ago.
Also, it came out late in the year too. Okay.
Yes. It went to DVD early in 2024.
Okay.
It was on DVD and I was waiting for it to go somewhere because I'm like, I don't know if it was only DVD. I don't think it was on Blu-ray. It was a DVD release. When I tell you, you know how they describe it as edge of your seat?
Yeah.
60 minutes of the edge of your seat. You are sitting there I sat like this for about 40 minutes straight. Just
wow. So it's that intense.
It's not intense in the way that you would expect intense. It's not an irreversible intense.
No, I'm not expecting something like that.
No, it's not. That's what I mean. It's different. The whole one thing happens. There is a one really do not. I'm going to tell people don't read up on it. Just see it if you can see it.
No spoiler
But
witch here.
do not spoil this.
Yeah.
No. One event happens. One really fucked up thing happens. And the rest of the movie is you sitting, waiting for the characters to find out it happened. And they keep getting closer, and then they pull back. And they get closer, and they pull back from it again. So you're just teetering on this edge of when are they going to see it?
All right, you've said too much.
That's no, I mean that's what
yeah.
the whole movie is. It's just this anxiety, like feeling in the center.
Oh
of
man,
your
I can't wait to
chest,
watch
like,
this. I'm gonna watch this week.
Yeah,
The Coffee Table. It's called The Coffee Table.
The Coffee Table. It's
that's a great
film.
title too.
Yeah, it's a Spanish film. My review is The Coffee Table will ruin your fucking life.
Wow.
You've never sat in such anxiety.
And this is not, you're not hyping it up, right? This is legit fantastic.
I've told 2-3 people already to watch it, and they were like, you're not fucking kidding.
Wow. I'm not hearing anything about this film.
Yeah, because it did a bunch of festivals. Some people think it's boring because it's just that anxiety. And I'm going to say, I think that watching it on Tubi does it a disservice because the commercials break the tension.
Yeah, I could see that. There's a lot of movies when you watch them, the commercials just kind of kill the whole vibe.
I did. Vinegar Syndrome just released it, and I bought the Blu-ray immediately. As soon as it went up, I fucking bought it.
I might have to borrow that from you then to watch it.
I would suggest, I would totally let you borrow it.
Yeah.
It's because Lynn hasn't watched it yet either.
Okay.
So I would say, know what, why don't you come over and we'll just watch it again.
I mean, I'm curious. Yeah.
Yes. It is a great film.
I mean, you're right, because Tubi, it'll be like an Ozempic commercial, right when something's about to happen.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much. That's exactly what happens. Yeah. Yes.
It drives me crazy when you're watching a movie and it's like a detergent commercial. It's like a Tide commercial right when someone gets murdered in the movie. It breaks
the tension. So if you can watch it on a Blu-ray, DVD, solid, without commercials.
It's a good recommendation because I haven't even heard about this movie. Yeah. So I'm going to check it out. I've been hearing about
it for a while, and I'm like, this most disturbing film, I got to see this.
Yeah.
It's a different type of disturbing than what would normally be described as disturbing.
I got to check it out.
So those, Coffee Table, Don't Understand You, and then Immaculate, because you already said Late Night with the Devil. Immaculate's in my top 10 for the year, along with Late Night with the Devil.
I liked Immaculate, but there was another woman pregnant with Satan's baby movie that I enjoyed more of that I'm going to get into soon.
Yeah.
I mean, I dug Immaculate. I like Sydney Sweeney like most men do. And she's great in the movie. Like, I just feel like she is a really good actress too. And I was surprised. Like, it was a weird performance for her because I watched her on Euphoria and she's great on that. And so I was like, oh, this is cool that it's kind of a different role for her. I do really like the ending of Immaculate, though. That scene where, one second.
The scream
of with the rock and you don't ever see what it is. Nope. Like I enjoyed.
I said Immaculate. This is Sydney Sweeney's Midsummer.
Yeah, it was a very good movie. Midsummer. Yeah, it was a good movie. I don't have it high. I probably have it like number 11. If I'm being honest,
this is my number 7
or 12. It'd be like below top 10. Yeah, I mean she's great in it. Like I said, the ending is what did it for me. I think
there was a moment in the movie that took me by surprise.
Yeah,
when I realized what year it was. Did you catch that? What year does Midsummer does Immaculate take place in? What's the decade?
I didn't even think about it.
What's the decade? Take a guess.
70s, 80s?
Nope.
What year?
Now.
Yeah, there's no cell phones in it.
There is one cell phone.
Is there?
That is the
I've only seen it once.
There is a scene when they capture her and she's in the car. She's in the back seat. The guy's in the front seat and he pulls out a cell phone. And I said, wait a minute, what fucking year is this? I thought this was like the 50s. And suddenly he pulls out a cell phone. And it's modern day.
I didn't honestly,
the fuck away.
When I watched the movie, I didn't even I didn't think about what decade it took place in. So
Apartment 7A, Creatures of the Night says, that did come out this year, and I felt the same way about that I felt about the Salem's Lot. It was dull. They weren't bad, they were just dull. 7A was, you enjoyed it? Okay. Yeah.
I didn't even watch
I
it.
was looking forward to that one too.
Yeah,
Dionne
no.
Weist is great in it. She's great. She plays Minnie Castevet very differently,
Okay.
but the guy playing Roman Castevet nails it. He plays it exactly as the original.
I love, obviously, like most of us love Rosemary's Baby, and I just didn't even
Yes.
bother. I wasn't sure. I kept hearing like people saying it was terrible, but
It's not, no, it's not bad.
no, okay.
It's just a little boring. See it for yourself. It's one of those where like you might enjoy it, you might not.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad movie at all. I just found it a little dull,
Yeah.
you know.
It's a Paramount Plus film, right? I think, if I
Yes.
remember correctly.
Yeah.
So I'm glad Creatures of the Night mentioned that, because I forgot that movie existed and I have not seen it. So
Yeah.
I completely forgot about the Rosemary's Baby prequel.
Yeah. I say give it a try because
yeah.
you might really like it.
I mean, I love the original, so give it one chance.
I could see that. He didn't realize it was Rosemary's Baby prequel.
Oh
So
wow.
I could see where that might, okay, you just went in blind with it. Okay, I could see that.
It was a little fun treat. A fun treat to be like, oh shit, this is connected to Rosemary's Baby. Yeah. All right, let's get into the top 5 here, Manny.
Okay.
So we'll go back and forth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll go back and forth. I'll start. So my number 5 top film of 2024. I've seen this on a lot of people's top 5, 10 list of the year for good reason. She just won a Golden Globe a couple nights ago for the performance, Demi Moore. The Substance. Loved it. You don't see too many kind of body horror film, art house films of this style made these days. Very rare. Similar to Robert Eggers. This type of film, no one's really making this type of movie. It almost felt like a combination of like a David Cronenberg film and a Black Mirror episode. That's like kind of the way I describe The Substance. Demi Moore, great in the movie. And it's for a film of its caliber, it's not a huge cast. She's great. Margaret Qualley is great in it. It's kind of a reserved role. She doesn't do a whole lot. It's more of a physical role for her. Dennis Quaid in it is
some of the grossest scenes.
Him eating shrimp, in my opinion, was grosser than what happens at the end of the film. Just him munching on shrimp and then smoking a cig. Disgusting. The whole character served its purpose. So I loved it. I loved the ending, how ridiculous it got. I love the concept of a drug that separates you with a younger version of you, and you have to go back and forth and take care of one another. I dug it. The violence in it was cerebral, brutal. The ending with the big nasty mass that's walking around faces and bone and all skin and all this hair, disgusting. And I will say, Demi Moore deserved that award. She was fantastic.
She nailed it.
Fantastic in the film. So that's my number 5.
Okay. Excellent. My number 5 is debatable if you call it a horror film.
Okay.
It is definitely a thriller. 100% is a thriller. It is a true crime. It is debatable if you call it a horror film, but I enjoyed it more than the others, than Immaculate and Late Night with the Devil. I liked it more. There was a better film, and it had the tension, and it was really, really well done. It didn't totally cross into horror. It's a horror film in like a lot of the same way that Silence of the Lambs is a horror film. It just doesn't get as graphic. Woman of the Hour.
Have not seen it.
Anna Kendrick.
I know it's on Netflix. Right?
Yes, Anna Kendrick starring. It's her directorial debut.
Really wanted to see it. Completely forgot about it until right now. Yeah. So I got to watch that this week.
Really, really good film. It's a true story about this time that a serial killer was on the dating game in the 70s. And the film it kind of tells both their perspectives, the killer and her. They combined. There's one character that's kind of a combination of a bunch of victims, a bunch of people rather. But other than that, the rest of the film is almost entirely accurate to what really happened.
From what I've seen, they did a
Almost.
great job with like the
Yeah.
production design. It looks
Oh, it's
like it's
great.
that era
It's
of.
great.
I don't know
And
too
it's
much about the film, so
and it's non-linear storytelling too, which is
okay.
nice. They kind of jump back and forth, so it keeps you a little confused for a while, but very, very good. She's great. He's great. Her direction is perfect.
Yeah, that's what
Her
I've heard.
directing in that was absolutely perfect. She nailed everything about it. So
I gotta watch it.
that's why I said, you know what? It was better than other horror films of the year.
If it has a
Just
serial
so
killer, it's a horror film, in my opinion. Like a thriller
for
horror
the
type.
most part. Yeah, that's what you'll
Yeah.
see it. You'll see what I mean. It doesn't cross totally into being
Mhm.
a horror film. It is a thriller, but it
Yeah.
is borderline horror film, you
Yeah.
know? And she I think Anna Kendrick is a phenomenal actress.
She's great.
I
Yeah.
think she's very underrated because she does so many like
Those dancing movies that she was
yeah,
in.
she does
Pitch
a lot of
Perfect, I
film.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, she does a
So,
lot of stuff like that, you know. But even that, she's most famous because she did one song from that, and that's actually her singing, and she did it. They did the whole music video for it, and she
wow.
sang it, and she did all the choreography and all that. So she is phenomenally, like really ridiculously talented, and I don't think that people have realized it yet. She did that show. Was it called Dummy?
I
Was
never
it?
saw it.
Loved that show.
Never
I
saw
loved that. So anyway, so yeah, Woman of the Hour is my number 5 of the year.
Before I get into my number 4, so Creatures of the Night said, just saw it last week. It was amazing. The last 20 minutes feel like a trauma film. I've heard a lot of people say that him munching on shrimp looks like an early Peter Jackson shot. Yeah, you're right. In Dead Alive. Yeah, it's really, those are the slimiest shrimp I've ever seen. It was disgusting. Number 4, Louis, number 4, top 5 horror films of 2024. You mentioned The Immaculate, women pregnant with Satan's baby. And demons and all kinds of shit. My 4th favorite film of last year, The First Omen. Loved it. I had no expectations going into this movie. It's one of the films I watched when it was streaming on Hulu after the fact and was upset.
I saw it in theaters.
I was upset I didn't go see it in the theater.
I was upset I didn't see Immaculate in theaters.
There you go. So I think, and we mentioned the Rosemary's 7A or whatever, the 7A, the Rosemary's Baby prequel. I think The First Omen does a prequel film justice. I thought it was very well made.
Yeah.
She is great in it.
She is.
She has like a weird like tiger or something. It's like a weird, I forgive me, I sound like an idiot. I don't know her name, but it's like some weird kind of name she has, the lead in that. Great movie. The way it starts, you know, I've seen some people on Letterboxd and, you know, kind of give the movie shit for paying homage to Possession when towards the end, again, towards the end of the film, when she, I love that car accident scene.
You know what I see though in it?
What?
I feel like if this had been made back then,
more people would have appreciated it.
Probably. I think Mikel Suavi would have been the director.
Oh yeah.
And this was totally an Italian style.
Oh yeah, dude, that's what I loved about it. I didn't even get to say that yet.
That's what I love. Yeah. I think Mikel Suavi would have done this if this was made in like 81, 82 instead of Omen 2 and 3. Mikel Suavi would have been the one doing it, and it would have been the same movie.
And honestly, I love how it sort of flawlessly leads into the first Omen movie.
Love that
they did a great with the picture and the adopting and all that. I really it was on my list, one of the films that surprised me the most out of all these movies we've mentioned. Well, the ones I've seen. The First Omen surprised me the most. After I watched it, I put it on again like 3 days later. I was just editing and I put it on. Like I really, really enjoyed the movie. Just kind of the build up, her, you know, showing up. It's her first, she's a new nun and all. And then I watched Immaculate shortly after. And I liked Immaculate, but I thought First Omen, in my opinion, I enjoyed They were
very
different.
Very similar story, but they did them in different styles.
And they came out around the same time, which is bizarre. Yeah. Like weird timing to release both films. But I loved it, man. I'm a huge fan of The Omen. Most people love, who doesn't love The Omen, the original Omen? And I like some of the sequels too. And I just thought they work so well together. And I love the kind of possession scene where she's giving birth or going into labor. Listen, everyone loves possession. How could you, like, whatever? They were paying homage to that film. I mean, I think enough time has passed where you can pay homage to possession and not be called like,
you know,
a knockoff or whatever. You know,
that's also why I say it was a Mikel Suave style film, because he did stuff like that in the sect and in the church.
Yeah.
You know, he did that kind of stuff to begin with. That had nothing to do with possession. He did them at the same time as possession. He was already doing that kind of sexy, gross, demon possessed woman movie to begin. It was his thing.
Yeah. I mean, I could totally see that. I didn't even think about that. I did get the kind of Italian horror vibes from it, more like,
besides the fact that it takes place in Italy.
Yeah. Outside of that, but like, even when you watch the original Omen,
it has the pacing of an Italian possession film.
Dude, that scene where she's like giving birth or whatever, like that was a weird, crazy. Great. Yeah. Not the possession, the other scene. It's like, I don't want to spoil too much about the film because maybe people haven't seen it, but even though the witch,
it's an Exorcist prequel, it's an Omen prequel. You know
what's going to happen.
Giving birth to.
You know who she's giving birth to. So,
there's going to be a baby at the
when
end
they reveal the name Damien. I'm like, oh, here it is. It's like it's like a superhero movie when the superhero finally shows up. It's like, all right, there's Damien. There is Satan's son. I loved it. It's got a lot of rewatchability. All these films in my top 5, in my opinion, have a lot of rewatchability.
And what's really cool is throughout the course of the film, there's homages to the original Omen as well.
Yeah, I caught that in the second viewing.
They have moments where they set up to make it look like they're about to do the same kills.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, come on.
Right in the beginning of the priest,
we're going to do the hanging. We're going to do the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's one death that's basically lifted from the Omen. Yeah. But for the most part, they kind of tried were
all there. Yeah. The glass and the lightning bolt. Yeah. And they were all kind of set up like, oh, wait, nope, not yet. Yeah. Nope, not yet.
Number 4 for you, Manny.
Smile 2.
Haven't seen it.
Smile 2. Phenomenal. Like, I liked the first
I keep hearing it's better than part 1. I did not like part 1
every way, shape, and form. I liked the first one.
Okay.
But this is another world. Naomi Scott
she's great, and that's what I keep
another
hearing.
One. She should have been nominated right next to Demi Moore for this.
Yeah.
Like, she carries this entire film. What's his name is in it? Who's in every fucking
Don't
movie
spoil
now?
the movie. I haven't seen it yet. Oh, he's in it too? He was the cop in the first one.
Yes. He starts this movie.
Okay.
So it literally connects to the end of the first one and goes starts with his characters connected.
Someone told me that it's kind of like Terminator 1 and 2. Like, Terminator 1 is awesome, but Terminator 2 is the shit.
Yes.
That's what people are like saying. Like,
100%.
They're comparing the two movies.
Yep.
I was not a huge Smile fan of the first film. So I'll be honest, even when Grimy came on the show with me and we talked about anticipated Halloween stuff, and that was a movie coming out in the Halloween season, I kind of poked fun at it because I didn't like the first one. So I was like, who's going to go see Smile 2? Yeah. But
I thought that too when I first started the trailers.
Yeah.
And then I started hearing people saying it was good. I was like, all right, I guess we're going to go see it. And dude, I was blown away. Absolutely blown away by how incredible this really was.
I'm going to have to watch it. I mean, I'm going to put some time aside and watch it. I kept putting it off. So
we've mentioned a couple times this year that we were both, you did a little bit, but I did the 366 challenge this year, and they were all, as a result of that, I watched 131 films that were released in 2024, horror films.
Wow.
131. And part of that is where I say, like, where was it? 24. The first Omen is number 24 on my list. And that's just because I saw so many, and some that just, and I really loved the first. I thought it was great, but there's so many that I saw that just overtook it. So for Smile 2 to be at number 4.
Yeah. And that's like a big budget, mainstream, huge film. So
yes.
I gotta watch it. I mean, I have to give Smile another chance. Like what I'll probably do.
I don't think you need to.
No? Okay.
No, you don't need to.
I was gonna go back watch Smile
really
and watch Smile 2. Okay.
No.
I have seen the 2 hour and change runtime, and I'm like, oh, Smile 2 hours and 10 minutes.
So fucking worth it.
I'm gonna watch it. It's
so worth it. It's not Trap.
Oh, okay.
It's not Trap.
I have no I don't know anything about Smile 2. Like, I haven't read any reviews, spoilers, nothing. So I'm gonna go in.
I mean, it's the same thing as the first movie. It's this curse that
but I don't know the
kills.
kills.
Of course,
I don't
kill
know.
yourself and shit. Like, that's it. But the whole movie is her losing her
performance is the best part.
Amazing.
All right, I'm gonna check it out. All right, my number 3, a movie we talked about at the top of the show that Manny did. It was on Manny's disappointing films of 2024. My number 3, Nosferatu.
Okay.
It worked for me, man. I loved it. I can't wait to watch it again. Beautiful film. Again, I love my mustache Count Orlok with his dick. So I was a fan.
Chris Cocksmith.
Chris Cocksmith. You know, I listen. Everything about the movie worked for me, and I dug it. I just, dude, I don't know. It resonated with me in a way where I was like, this is just a beautiful film. The performances are solid. Again, I'm being redundant now because we talked about it at the top of the show. I feel like I'm defending myself now, but no, that's not the case.
No need to defend yourself.
There is no need.
Most people love it. I am in the minority and not enjoying it.
It hit, man. It hit for me.
What?
I loved it. Not number 1. I think you thought it might have been my number 1.
No, I think I know what your number 1
you think you know what my number 1 is?
But that also makes me think I know what your number 2 is as well.
Possibly. So number 3, Nosferatu. We'll move on quick there. What's your number 3, Manny?
My number 3 is The Substance.
Oh, there you go.
Yep, we talked about it. You compared it to what?
I compared it to a Black Mirror, like a David Cronenberg film and a Black Mirror episode. It kind of felt like. I said
is Death Becomes Her and The Fly.
Oh, for sure. There you go,
and
David Cronenberg.
The end, it turns into Freaked.
Yes, which is awesome.
It's Freaked in the end.
Yeah.
But what I did also say, I felt like this is what I wanted out of Maxine.
Oh, it blew Maxine out of the water.
The reason for there being a young Maxine and old Pearl, this is what I was expecting from that.
Yeah.
Some sort of physical connection between Pearl and Maxine. That's where I thought the movie was going. And this gave me what I was looking for.
I'm sure Ty West, if he watched The Substance, was probably like, son of a bitch. So
shit.
About an aging actress or aging celebrity. Like, it's.
That's why I say
so
Pearl
good,
ends up being a whole other thing because there was no connection. This is what I was expecting out of Maxine.
The Substance was just a solid script, dude. That was a well-written script, and she well-deserved. She crushed in the movie. It was so good. I want to watch it again. I've seen it twice. I want to watch it a third time. I haven't had a chance to watch it a third time because it's on that Mubi app. I paid for not even. I got the free subscription. Watched it twice. Canceled the subscription. That's what I did. So
I saw it in theater. I'm so glad we got to see it in theaters.
I didn't get a chance. It was like during the Halloween season, and obviously very busy. I didn't have a chance to go see it in the theater. But as soon as it was on Mubi, I got that one free week to watch it. All right, number 2 on my list, 2024 top horror films. I'm gonna say that every single time, just because.
Yep, it's fine.
Strange Darling.
Number 2. That's my number 2.
So we're on the same page. Number 2 was Strange Darling. We saw that
another one we kind of saw together.
No, we did see it together.
We ended up at the same theater at the same time, coincidentally.
With the wives. We both showed up with the wives.
Yeah, Late Night with the Devil, we went together. It was like, oh, wait, we both went to the same screening.
It ended up becoming a hangout that day. Yep. Dude, the performances from both of them, fantastic. I love the non-linear storytelling. Again, I'm the witch is out. The spoiler witch is out.
No.
I'm not going to spoil the ending. But it's like almost a mild spoiler. Where it goes and where you think it's gonna go, I love the swerve. I love the swerve. I feel like it's a spoiler because I'm telling people there's something's gonna happen and swerve you a different direction. I loved it. Beautiful looking movie. Giovanni Ribisi. It was the DP.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna say that it is a spoiler, but I don't think it is a spoiler because you're watching it and it does the Pulp Fiction non-linear.
Yeah, it's got the Tarantino vibe to it.
So like as soon as it does that, you're already trying to figure out I figured it out. I figured it out real early, but I didn't care.
Yeah,
it was really well done. I knew it when it happened. I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that coming, but I did not care.
When I say spoiler, I mean it more so in the sense of like the trailers protected the twist.
They did. But I think that 10 minutes into the movie, you're going to know what the twist is already.
Okay.
Because you already realize they're telling the story out of order.
So they're
clearly trying to hide something. And you're like, okay, they can only be hiding one of two things, but they tell it so well.
I remember
I didn't give a shit.
Yeah, I agree. I remember in the theater, I leaned over to the wife at one point and I was just like, meh, meh, meh. Like I did the same thing. I was like, I already can see where this is going. But regardless, it's still, again, beautiful look. I love the way that movie's shot, dude. And I just think I get a kick out of it being Giovanni Ribisi. It was a 16 millimeter, right? Was it shot on 16 millimeter? I think, right?
1630. Yeah, I don't know. They made a thing of it in the beginning that this was shot on film, and I was like, okay, who gives a shit?
It's a very obviously Tarantino inspired vibe. And again, would you call this a horror film? On the fence, but to me, it was a horror film. It was, it's
I think it was
nothing supernatural, but it's a thriller horror movie. I thought they carried that whole movie. It was just so good, man.
This is like a home invasion, but on the road.
Yes. It is.
It's very much a home invasion feel, only in a road movie.
Yeah. I can see that. Even though
it's just one person hiding from another. It's got that Hitcher, the feel of the Hitcher.
The color, yes, that's a good comparison. The colors of it are so good. Like I think thinking about it now, and I've only seen it once. I can't wait to watch it again.
I just got the 4K.
Oh, did you? I gotta buy a copy of it. But the colors, like there's those shots of him with like the red plaid jacket and the gun, like it's just the yellow glasses. Like the way it looks is just fantastic. It's just and her running. It's just like all the shots, like that long shot of her. It's just such a beautiful film, well acted film, solid, simple script.
Yep,
simple. Sometimes simplicity and not long. Not overly pretentious that it didn't need to be 3 hours long, 2.5 hours. And this is coming from the guy who loved Nosferatu, who was almost 3 hours.
Longer than this episode is right now.
Yes, exactly.
Shorter, not as long as this.
And on that note, on to number one. So we both love Strange Darling. That's both of our number twos. I know our number ones are not going to be the same. My number one, Long Legs.
I knew it. Yeah, I knew that.
So here's why I loved Long Legs. Similar to Nosferatu, Strange Darling, First Omen, Substance, I love the way the movie looks. I think Oz Perkins, I love the way all of his films look.
Yes,
beautiful. The color grading, style, everything about it. Now, Long Legs, we did a full episode, so I won't elaborate too much. I love the marketing behind the film. I love that they kind of hid Nick Cage's appearance and what he looked like in the movie until the film was released. I love the 1-800 number you can call where you can hear his voice that you told me about. We talked about that on the episode when we covered the movie. Everything about that, in my opinion, lived up to the hype. I loved the movie. I loved just kind of the tension, how you don't know much about her, and then things start to unravel and you realize how much more she is involved. Dude, when you first watch that movie, you have no idea she's even related or involved with anything that's going to happen in the end. And then I loved how bleak and depressing the ending of the film was. Like I loved it. I remember us saying how the Satan stuff could have been used more as a plot device in the film. It's kind of overshadowed by everything else. I love the little images of Satan hidden throughout the movie. You see Satan, you see horns hidden in reflections and shadows and this. Dude, it was one of the movies on this entire list. Again, a movie I had to go back and watch. Like I just had to watch it again. Like it's one of those films that it's why I love movies. Like it's just, she's great. Nick Cage is not a huge role in it, but he's so memorable and he feels like a Yule log Adult Swim character in that movie. It's just a bizarre performance. And I just feel like for the year of 2024, you look at Longlegs, made a kind of a cultural impact. Like the character, obviously the substance made a cultural impact. And as much as, even though you didn't like it, Nosferatu did as well. Just kind of what it did with horror and pop culture and kind of people that don't watch horror films like we do and are, that's all we watch for the most part, or a good chunk of the stuff we watch is horror. We love horror movies. I feel like this movie was the horror movie of 2024, in my opinion. I'm sure the substance, there's people that would say the substance is that. Hence why that's my number 5 and Longlegs is my number 1. I kind of bookended it with them. Yeah. And I only say that because I watched the substance later in the year. So maybe it could have been swapped out for my number 1, but I did love those other movies. The other movies have more rewatchability for me than the substance. Yeah, man, I love Longlegs, man. I can ramble on. We already did that full episode. So I dug it. And I know you were disappointed by it. So I'm so curious what number 1 is. Cuckoo. We talked about it already. I had a feeling. I mentioned it earlier and I was like, he hasn't mentioned it yet. It's got to be his number 1. I thought maybe it'd be like number 3. We've talked about
it on the show twice at this point. This is now the 3rd time.
It's your favorite film.
I watched it again today and still absolutely loved it. It's weird. It's strange. Hunter Schafer is awesome. Dan Stevens is awesome. It's just this freaky, odd, just such a weird movie.
It is bizarre.
I loved it. I love the way they shot it. I love the strangeness of the story. I love all the weird cuckoo of it, like the implanting of the eggs, and it had this kind of body snatchers feel to it. And,
for sure. Towards the end there, especially.
Yeah, that weird sci-fi twist that I always enjoy, that kind of thing. I said I don't want to get too much into it because we have covered it twice at this point already. We covered it once when I watched it at Overlook in April.
And then we did the spoiler.
And then we covered, then we did a whole episode on it because it came out to theaters in August.
I finally got to see it.
So we did a whole episode on it.
I loved it. It's in my top 10. It probably would be on the lower end, obviously, of it. And the only reason why it's not in my top 5 is the ending didn't really hit with me as much. Not the sci-fi stuff. I dug that. But kind of the pacing of the ending was a little weird to me. And I love Dan Stevens. Like who doesn't love Dan Stevens? Like he's the best. So like for me, it was like there was just something missing towards the end there for me. I haven't watched it a second time. I have to. I know it's on Hulu. I've been meaning to revisit
I've watched it maybe 3 or 4 times already.
Yeah, I have to go back and give it another watch. What did Creatures in the Night here? Great job, you guys. You rattled off a few films I've never heard of that I have to go back and check out. Coffee Table and Yule Log. Back to back, you say. Yes, Coffee Table Yule I haven't seen. Watch both Yule Log movies. You will not be disappointed.
Yes. Yeah, they are. Yule Log 2 is a direct sequel to the first one.
You have to watch part 1.
Yes.
So
yes, you have to watch part 1 first. You absolutely have to. Yes.
Yule Log. Listen, I can't wait for Yule Log 3.
And they're both on HBO. Happens.
Yeah, both are on HBO Max. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. To close out the show here, Manny.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even brief you on this beforehand. Is there an anticipated film coming out for you this year? What's your anticipated film for 2025? Do you have one?
I have a bunch. It looks like this might be another good year for horror.
Okay, rattle off 1 or 2.
The Running Man remake.
That's a weird one.
By Edgar Wright.
And Glenn Powell is playing the lead in that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what's his name is playing Killian.
Is he playing the bad guy? He's the villain? Oh, really? Interesting.
Killian. Thanos. What's his name? Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin.
is playing Killian, the
Oh,
TV
he's
host.
playing. Oh, I thought you meant like Cillian Murphy. I'm thinking.
No,
Josh
Killian
Brolin's playing Killian. I know what character.
of
yes,
the show.
the Jesse Ventura role.
No, Jesse Ventura is Captain
other host
Freedom,
guy, the commercial guy,
actual host of the show.
I forget the actor's name. I know
Josh
you're talking
Brolin
about.
is paying that.
Oh, that's good casting.
And I think he's doing more of the book because Running Man is
the Stephen King book.
Is in the tournament. In the movie, but in the book, it's more like, which is another movie I like, that which is another great Guns Akimbo, where they go everywhere.
Okay.
And they just run.
I gotta watch.
In the book,
I don't know the book well. I know the film, the 80s
it's a
movie
short story
with Schwarzenegger well, but not the book.
It's a short story. It's not contained into a thing. It's actually, they run on the streets and they chase.
It's everything around. Yeah, they made it more like a game show type deal with the suits and all that, which I'm assuming is going to be in this one too.
It is still a game show.
Yeah.
It is still a game show, but it's more like Guns Akimbo, the original story, and I think he's going in that direction with it. So that's I
forgot about that one.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. The Ritual.
Yeah,
I haven't even seen a trailer, but Al Pacino and Dan Stevens, as exorcists who are fighting with each other, they don't like each other. And they have to work together.
Yeah.
You know,
I have Wolfman, which comes out literally next week.
I figure there's a bunch that we both agree on, that we both we both want to see The Monkey.
Yeah, that comes out next month. I can't wait.
We're both up for the Wolfman. The Bride.
Yeah,
Maggie Gyllenhaal doing The Bride. Del Toro doing Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's on my list of
I know
big ones
years
coming
later.
out. Yes, that's
both of them. You know what I mean? I'm like, I know that. That's clear. I think everybody's anticipating that.
Yeah.
You know, what is not one of the big ones is you have one that's not a huge film.
I just had to pull it up because I forgot to write it on my and I think it comes out this year. It might be next year, but I know Adam Wingard has a new movie coming out called Onslaught with Dan Stevens.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I don't know if that's late this year or next year though. That's why I didn't want to mention it because I wasn't sure. I know it's I think it's filming now, or filmed last year, and it's going to be. They were talking about it last year, and yeah, Dan Stevens is in it. So I'm a big Guest fan. So
yeah,
I mean that could be a promising film. I'm assuming it's genre on the cusp of horror. I'm assuming that's probably the only one that we don't have. Wingard. Yeah. So there'll be some sprinkle of horror in there. That Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein movie looks like it's going to be sick. Yep. So I'm really looking forward to that. But there's a bunch of stuff. This year's going to be probably crazy for horror again. I mean, I'm just happy to see. I'm just happy to see a bunch. I'm sure a bunch of stuff is going to come out on Shudder, on Tubi, stuff. Like look at Yule Log 2. Had no idea that was coming out this year.
There's going to be some random.
I'm sure there'll be some surprise shit coming out this year.
Got Hard Eyes and Companion coming out the next month too. Both
Hard Eyes looks like a lot of fun for a Valentine's Day slasher film, so I'm looking forward to that too. There's so much stuff, man. I wrote down like 2 things. Wolfman,
and Black Phone 2.
Yeah, Black Phone, which I have to revisit. Black Phone 1, I've only seen it once, so I have to, and I enjoyed it. So
that's great.
I have to go back and watch that.
Ethan Hawke is he's one of those actors.
I'll watch anything he's in.
Anything.
He's the man. He's the man. So it's like Dan Stevens. Both those guys. Both of them. The man. Anything they're in, I'll give it a shot. But yeah, that's basically our recap for 2024. Lots of movies. 2 hours of us just talking here.
Strong year for horror.
Very strong. 2025, it doesn't look like it's stopping. I mean, like I said, we got the Wolfman literally next week. Time of this live recording. Next week is the Wolfman. And then Hard Eyes, like you said, is in a couple of weeks. The Monkey. It's kind of crazy. I'll be going to the theater a lot. I'm not mad. So
I'm not dropping that AMC thing. I'm keeping it.
It's worth it. It's worth it. But yes, if you watch this after the fact, sorry about the technical difficulties there at the top. Sorry about that. Let us know. We never do this in the comments. What your top 5 horror films 2024, what they were. Let us know. Maybe they line up with ours. Maybe they're movies Manny and I never heard of. I highly doubt that. Manny watches everything. So there's a chance Manny probably heard about it. But yes, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Everyone in the chat means a lot to us. Be sure to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Blue Sky.
Toy too.
Oh, there you go. The configuration, the box, the laminate configuration. Subscribe, all that good stuff. Manny's gonna summon Pinhead
cool
over
is-
here. Be careful, their chains are gonna erupt from the wall there. Manny might want that to happen to him. He might want Pinhead and the Cenobites to show up. Oh, there they go. There go the chains. They're inside of the box. But yeah, subscribe, all that good stuff. That is pretty cool. Rate and review us. It'd be greatly appreciated wherever you're listening to the audio only version of this. And remember, the best cure for a hangover is
more chains.
More chains and booze. No booze tonight. Dry
No booze.
table.
No, I'm going to work. I couldn't drink tonight.
Catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye.